The Telltale Heart. In a time long ago, where the walls seemed to listen as if they were part of the hidden secrets, there was a man who spoke of a horrific act that had befallen him, without showing any sign of doubt in his mind or sanity. His eyes were sharp, and his heart boiled with talk of something buried deep within him. He insisted that he was not mad, and despite his calm and reassuring words, he twisted around himself, avoiding the stillness that gnawed at his mind. "Listen," he would say. "I saw the eye. That damn eye that haunted me. It wasn't like any ordinary eye. It was a ghostly eye. It glowed from inside his head, like the eyes of a predatory bird, an eye that wanted to drown you in a sea of regret." He was referring to the old man he lived with. The old man was very kind, calm, and peaceful. He treated the young man as though he were part of his family. But the young man felt something strange creeping into his heart, something he could not explain or convince anyone else of. That eye always watched him. He felt as though it stared at him all the time, as if it represented something evil, something that drained his soul with that fixed gaze. Week after week, each time he encountered that strange eye, it grew sharper in his mind. His obsession turned into a nightmare. Even in his sleep, he saw the eye. He saw it watching everything, following every movement, every step. Little by little, he became convinced that this eye was the cause of everything festering within him, and that ridding himself of it was the only path to peace. One night he decided to act. He had planned everything carefully. There was nowhere the old man could run, nowhere to hide. The clock struck midnight, and the young man moved quietly through the dark. His heart raced, but his mind was clearer than ever. As he approached the bed where the old man lay sleeping, he felt something pin him in place. It was that eye, the damned eye, open now, watching him in a deep, blind gaze, but he felt it was watching him more than anything. Before he knew it, he grabbed the pillow and smothered the old man's face, silently. A strange calmness overtook him as he did this. He could hear nothing but his own breathing, frantic. And then, in the end, there was silence. But then, something strange seeped into his heart. It was the sound that grew and became louder. It was faint at first, but steadily increasing. A heartbeat, deep and continuous, coming from beneath the floorboards. A pulse of life that should not be there. The sound echoed in his ears, growing louder and louder, until it was the only thing he could hear. No matter what he did, it would not stop. It filled the space around him, consuming his thoughts, his mind, and his reason. What had started as a calculated act, a planned escape from the eye that had driven him to madness, soon spiraled into a frenzy of paranoia. Could it be that the old man's heart had never stopped? That his victim was still alive, somehow trapped in the walls, crying out for release? Or was it something even more horrifying? His own heart, beating louder and louder as it tormented him. The sound was deafening, his mind fractured. He could no longer tell what was real. He could no longer escape the truth. Desperation consumed him, driving him to the edge until his fragile mind could no longer hold, and in the end, there was only one way out: to confess. But could a confession cleanse the soul of a man who had allowed his own guilt to torment him so thoroughly? The heart, the telltale heart, would never stop, never allow him peace. No matter how hard he tried to bury it, the sound would always remain. Finally, he cracked. His cries grew louder. In front of the police, with his eyes filled with terror, he confessed, "The heart, that heart, it's beating. It's beating." The sound became louder than truth, stronger than anything he could escape. In the end, his confession was what broke the walls of his madness.